Is your company keeping its best and brightest? Talent retention right now on the Leadership Voice. Welcome to the Leadership Voice. I'm your host, Jay Barbuto. Today's show is about employee retention. Joining us are Janet Clardy, Senior Vice President of Human Resources at Experian, Regina Johnson, Chief Human Resource Officer at MarketCast, and we have Kelly Ellerman, Chief People Officer at King's Fish Company. We also have a leadership lesson being delivered by Dr. Gerard Beenen. We have a great show for you, but let's get things started with our quote of the day. Today's quote comes from Richard Branson, co-founder of Virgin Airlines. Train people well enough so they can leave, but treat them well enough so they don't want to. Our first guest today is Janet Clardy. Janet serves as Senior Vice President of Human Resources at Experian. Her expertise includes culture, formation, HR innovation, talent management, business alignment, HR strategy, and executive business partnerships. Please welcome to the show, Janet Clardy.
Well, thank you, Jay. It's so great to be here.
We're really glad that you could join us to help us take a deeper dive into employee retention. Could you start by sharing a little bit about your journey leading up to your current role at Experian?
Absolutely. So it's good to be back on campus. I graduated from Cal State Fullerton and I started my journey. It was Pepsi. They owned Taco Bell at the time, and it was local here in Southern California. And so I worked with some amazing HR professionals. So I got a good foundation in HR. And then I moved into healthcare, and I spent 11 years in healthcare. And then from that, I did professional services. I did a startup, which was very exciting, very interesting, very harrowing. And then I ended up at Experian. I started in their consumer-facing business, and now I lead the HR business partnering group in multiple businesses at Experian, North America.
Oh, that's great. What a nice set of stops that you've had along the way that has given you a lot of perspective on retention. So could you talk about what do we mean when we say employee retention, and why is employee retention so important?
Well, it all starts with your talent. It's all about your people. And so you need to start with retention in mind. And retention is a key component of your culture and how you attract people and how you keep people.
So what is the cost of poor retention?
It comes out in many ways. First of all, it's a hidden cost. So it's usually about 1.5 to 2 times a person's salary. But that's not something that you can give back to the CFO. I mean, it's a hidden cost, but then there's other costs. There's low quality, there's a customer retention impact, there's work not getting done, there's a P&L impact. And so retention has a long time effect on your bottom line if you don't address it right away, or if you don't even start to address it.
And so employee retention, it's not just about people leaving. There's also how much they're enjoying the job that they're doing and how satisfied they are in the workplace.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want people quitting on the job either. And that's not captured through numbers. That's just captured through engagement, your culture, your survey results. So you want to make sure when people are staying, they're engaged and they're into it.
So sometimes part of employee retention is almost parallel or fused with employee engagement.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what are some of the components of a good employee retention strategy? What are some of the pieces that need to be part of it?
Well, I always, begin with the end in mind. Start as you want to go. So your onboarding program needs to be robust. It can't be, I got someone in the job and they're here, now go do the work. You need to affirm through onboarding their reason for joining your company. So that's really important. You need to make sure your leaders are effective, are vested in the talent that they attract and hire at your organization. You need to make sure you have a listening strategy. It's really important that you stay in tune to your workforce, make sure you're hearing what's working, what's not, and you address it. It's also important to make sure you have psychological safety in the workplace. You have flexibility. Nowadays, post-COVID, people don't always want to be at the office. They want to work remotely. And so flexibility is the new currency. And then finally, compensation is really important, but it's not everything. And so you want to make sure you have the right strategies in place for rewards so that people feel like they're getting paid well for the work they do. And your culture can be a big differentiator in that.
So all of these things kind of work together to retain employees. And in many ways, each of these also affect the engagement levels of people in the workplace.
Oh, absolutely.
So what role do leaders play in this?
You know, they're everything. They really are. They are the culture to the employees. They are the brand to the employees. They are the company to the employees. I mean, employees identify somewhat with senior leaders, but their direct manager is everything. And a lot of employees quit their manager. They don't quit the organization. So that's a key talent pool that you need to make sure you elevate and celebrate what they do to contribute and the talent they bring in and retain.
So a lot of employees, if we ask them, what is it like for you to work at this place, they'll refer to their relationship with their supervisor as what is that culture for them.
Oh yeah, many times they will.
So what are the gaps? How do we know if a company's not doing enough in employee retention?
Besides the numbers, you'll see a decline in customer engagement, customer experience. You'll have quality issues. It'll play out in how your products go to market. It'll play out in your customer experience. It'll play out in customer satisfaction. So the happy employees do lead to happy customers, for sure.
So long before people leave, you'll start to see slips in performance related to the end users. Whether it's, if you're in a production company, you'll start to see more defects or worse productivity. If it's service related, you'll have less satisfied or less happy customers. That will come even before you start even seeing the retention.
Oh, absolutely.
When must retention strategies be implemented for a company?
Right away. I mean, it should be built into your culture. And I define culture as how work gets done. So how work gets done is a vital part to how your company operates. So retention is built in because you have a culture that attracts people, that brings people together, that connects people, that makes work easy to do. People feel empowered in the workplace. And so retention should not be a reactive strategy. It should be how you build your company from the get-go.
Would you say that some leaders underestimate the importance of culture in employee retention?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I think leaders don't realize the impact they have on an employee. I mean, if you think about it as a leader, you impact how an employee goes home and interfaces with their family and interfaces with others. And you, as a leader, impact that every day in how you treat people. So your impact not only is on company productivity and how work gets done, it's impacting people's lives. So leaders play a key role, and how you have a culture that supports the leaders tells a lot about your values and the type of company you have.
So what advice would you give an HR executive, an HR leader that is in charge or tasked with employee retention?
Couple things. I would look at your data. If you're doing surveys, dig deep in the data and understand what it's telling you. Go on listening tours. Talk to your employees. Talk to all levels. I talk to employees at every level, leaders, executives, frontline, just to make sure I'm getting what's really going on. and getting at the heart of the issue. And then formulate plans to address the feedback you hear. I mean, don't ask and do nothing. You have to do something about it. And bring them along. We have culture teams at Experian, and we get their input and we make changes to how work gets done because they give us the input on a regular basis.
Well, terrific. I want to thank you, Janet, for joining us on today's show. We're going to have a leadership panel in just a little while, so you'll stick around for that.
Great. Thank you.
It's now time for a featured segment of the Leadership Voice. It's today's Did You Know? Today's Did You Know comes from TilsonHR.com. 38% of employees are likely to leave their jobs this year. An estimated 63% of these departures were considered preventable. So with turnover costs reaching up to 200% of an employee's salary, companies must focus on retaining their talent for long-term success. Our next guest is Regina Johnson. As Chief Human Resources Officer, Regina leads all MarketCast human resources and people initiatives, including shaping employee experience, driving talent management, and building diversity and inclusion strategy with their teams around the globe. Please welcome to the show, Regina Johnson.
Jay, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you here to talk about employee retention. Could you maybe start by sharing your story and your journey, which eventually led you to MarketCast?
Absolutely. So if I think about my HR journey, as we love to call it, I cut my teeth first at Bank of America and had the opportunity to work with some amazing leaders across various parts of the business and around the globe. That really set me off on a really good trajectory in recruiting and understanding how to attract talent into an organization. Then I cut my teeth on engagement strategies and due diligence and globalization of teams. From there, after leaving B of A, though, I went into a variety of different organizations. I went into a data services business, CoreLogic, which is now called Clardy, and really helped to build and take that company from spinning off IPO from First American as its own, and building out into a global capability, which was really wonderful experience. From there, I then started to lead the people function at various companies in automotive, telematics, financial services, and now currently at MarketCast, which is a research and insights organization that serves companies all around the globe and how they build better solutions, experiences, and products for consumers.
So let's talk about employee retention. How important is it for companies to develop strong retention strategies?
It's essential. And reasonably, what I would say is it has to be part of your overall business operating plan. This is something that is crucial to the performance of the business. It ensures alignment, it ensures productivity. It also ensures then what I call momentum and innovation. Those are the other pieces that really help aid a business being able to move forward. So if you're really thinking about how your best talent and people need to stay within the organization and you're planful and intentional around that, the business will grow, the business will thrive, and it will continue to elevate and scale as it should.
So if an executive came to you and said, I want us to really improve our employee retention strategies, and they said, what's it going to take for us to do that? Like, what does it take?
You really have to start at the beginning. You have to understand what is the business vision and how does that really show up in terms of what is the value that we are going to offer our employees. Every company has a different vision on what it is that they want to offer, right? Whether it's to other businesses or other consumers that are consuming whatever that product is. And once you understand that, that creates the purpose of the company and what people would want to have from that organization. And that then shapes how you want to attract your talent. And by the way, that's your first step in your retention strategy, is how you're thinking about bringing talent into the organization. The selection process, the alignment to the best fit of the roles, how you onboard them, and then how you think about that employee life cycle becomes really crucial. So that's where you start.
Let's talk about some of the best practices in employee retention. So what are some of the things that businesses might try if they want to really improve their employee retention? What are some things that could become part of the strategy?
So if we think about where to start in small increments, first I would say make sure you understand where maybe some of the pain points are relative to the employees. As an example, if you think about an organization that is, let's say, maybe not as tech-enabled, and they're trying to move forward into a tech-enabled type of business, that might mean that your employees are struggling with how to get their work done, and that they need better tools to be able to do it, and they may need additional development to be able to bridge that gap. So you want to then focus in on how to, one, drive the best types of development programs for your talent so that they can bridge it and come up to speed quickly. Make sure that leaders are, providing greater clarity around those areas, and then giving people a path to what those next career opportunities look like as the company is changing and evolving in a more tech-forward way. So if you help them understand you're making the investment now on developing their skills, you give them alignment on what it's going to take to be successful in the future, and then you also give them a plan on how to get there. If they're looking for broader opportunities, that is a very specific example on a retention strategy.
Now, not every organization is prepared to implement every idea.
Correct.
So what are some of the most creative things that you've seen in your career that some companies have embraced as part of their employee retention strategies? Like, what are some of the more creative things you've seen?
Okay, so there are quite a number of them. And, what I would tell you is they come in different forms. One, if you think about really, really effective onboarding and immersion, I've seen certain organizations that have literally taken cohorts of people who have come into an organization, take them off-site, and then do a multi-week immersion into the company in terms of the business strategy, the vision, their role, and the specific development that they need to have within the first 30 days before they set them out into engaging directly into the work. That is one example as we think about what it means to have good immersive onboarding. If we think about preparing leaders of the future, I've seen other organizations engage in partnerships. Some have partnered with the Space Kennedy Center and created an immersive offsite that really, powered up on leadership and stress testing leadership under pressure based on what was happening with the transformation of the business. I've seen others partner, let's say, with companies like Disney to create an immersive experience with their leaders and executive strategies. And then if you think about, on-the-ground retention strategies, some of the ones that I love around recognition and reward programs really tie into the cultural elements and what people care about and people value. So there's an automotive organization that I knew of that had real fans of cars. And so in their recognition programs of their top performers at the end of the year, one of the awards would be to offer a car to their top performer. So there's a variety of different ways in which retention can show up. Some can be heavy investments. Some can also be the small and micro moments as well.
So let's look at employee retention in a more holistic way. What are some of the cultural changes that will also reduce turnover in a company?
So one of the biggest things that I think if leaders or an organization believe that the culture is not where it needs to be and they need to do a bit of a cultural reset, they always have to go back to, okay, what is it that we do as a company and an organization? What is our vision? And then how is our culture showing up to that? And from there, once they've essentially assigned that, then you get into the values and then you get into what are the things, the moments that matter that we want to make happen that bring those cultural moments to life. How's it going to show up in our town halls? How's it going to show up in how we recognize individuals and people? And those become what I call your cultural growth, how they show up in your performance processes, et cetera. Those would be good examples, I think, of how you would start to make that cultural shift if you feel that the culture is in alignment with where the business is going.
And leaders are going to play a major role in that.
They are critical to it. So
if a company says, all right, I want to have cultural strategy as part of my employee retention, or it's a necessity. It's part of it whether I want it to be or not. Where do we start?
You first have to start with, what do you understand about your culture? And some of that may come through engagement surveys and types of metrics that you can see. You want to see what's happening within the business and the business performance. But it also means you need to have conversations with people. You need to be asking the questions. You need to give them the space to be able to volunteer information. Sometimes, in many instances, those conversations yield much more data than any survey that you may essentially find, just by giving the space for people to be able to provide their feedback.
So what advice would you give a senior executive if they said something like, we're fine, if people don't like it here, they can leave and we'll just find someone else? Because I've heard this before.
Yes, many of us have at some point in time. And I go in with inquiry and I'll say, tell me more about this. Like, tell me why you think that is the best strategy as it relates to retaining. Because if we go back to what is it that you are trying to achieve as a leader, and what is it that you need from your team, if you anchor in those pieces, and then you find out, okay, this person actually can help you with that, but this is the thing that they may need in terms of their value proposition, that cost may actually be very minimal compared to what it might cost for that person to leave, and then also what it may create in terms of turmoil, lack of productivity, stalled execution, because we didn't want to kind of inspect on where that value proposition maybe was misaligned with the business.
Well, terrific. Regina, I want to thank you for being on the show with us and participating. We're going to have a leadership panel here in just a few minutes, if you could stick around for that.
I'd love that. Thank you so much, Jay.
It's now time for today's Leadership Countdown. Today's countdown comes from the Society of Human Resources Management. We bring you the 5 biggest reasons people leave their jobs, all of which are preventable. Number 5, burnout and poor work-life balance. Some have had enough. Number 4, poor leadership and management. Sometimes people quit the boss. Number 3, lack of career advancement. If someone feels they have peaked, they'll think it's time to move on. Number 2, insufficient pay and benefits. Companies need to do their research and stay competitive financially, or risk losing their top talent to others willing to pay more. And the number 1 biggest reason that people leave their jobs is toxic, negative work environment. Those are the 5 biggest reasons. So organizations need to do their work and make sure that they prevent these from happening. Don't go anywhere. We have lots more on employee retention right after a word from the Giles O'Malley Center for Leadership. The Bringing Learning to Work program is our way of connecting the faculty of Cal State Fullerton with the business community of Orange County and Southern California. We have over 72 training programs that are available via distance or face-to-face. And the faculty come to your company and they deliver the training to your employees.
The Bringing Learning to Work program is really fundamentally, it's leadership programming. We do diversity and emotional intelligence training. We partner with Cal State Fullerton because they had subject matter experts in these fields, and we're really fortunate and privileged to be able to do that.
Many companies can't afford training and development personnel, and so this is a great opportunity to leverage Cal State's faculty to help them develop their learning programs.
The leadership of the center and the students allow me to not only bring leadership development to my company, but allow me to interact with some amazing students who have grit, potential, and just amazing futures in front of them, and I get to take part of that. It's a wonderful feeling.
When your organization is ready to develop its talent, reach out to the Center for Leadership, and we'll help get you there. Welcome back to the Leadership Voice. Our next guest is Kelly Ellerman. Kelly has spent the last 26 years with King's Seafood Company and currently serves as its Chief People Officer. Kelly brings a practical perspective to the workforce strategy. Please welcome to the show, Kelly Ellerman.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on the show to talk about employee retention. Could you share a little bit about your journey leading up to and even the journey as it's progressed at King's?
Well, I've been with King's for 26 years, so most of my journey has been with them. I was in telecom for HR, taking a company private public before that, and then I was in operations for restaurants. So at King's, I started with them. We had 2 people in HR, myself, and a payroll person. I was opening up the 7th restaurant that we had. We are still a privately held restaurant company. Our founders, our cousins, Sam and Jeff King, followed their father's footsteps. They opened restaurants in 1945 in the LA area. And I've seen the company grow and evolve. We're up to 2,200 employees. We have 23 restaurants in 5 different states. And I think what makes us different from most is our distribution center. We have a seafood distribution center that is housed in Santa Ana. We have about 30 people that work there, and we have direct relationships with the fishermen and the farmers, and we have our own mongers. And so we can support the quality of the product from water to plate. And we are currently expanding that, so pretty soon we'll be double in size, and we just support our own restaurants.
And that's amazing because most restaurants do not have their own distribution network. Some do have a commissary or a version of it, but this is quite different from that.
Yeah, we have, seafood product is very complex in itself, and just the buying power of it and the limited when we get it seasonally as well as volume, it changes so much. So to be able to manage that from start to finish is a huge leg up on most of our competitors in our industry because we have that direct relationship and we're not buying third party. So we can talk directly to the fishermen or the farmers and they'll tell us exactly when they're going out, when they can't because of weather, how much product they're getting in, and then we can adjust.
And it really makes your organization a supply chain organization built into the restaurant industry.
Yeah, very much so. We are. It's a benefit for us because we cut out the middleman, and it's a whole different arm of our business.
So let's talk about retention more specifically.
Yep.
And in the restaurant industry, how important is talent retention?
So it's important in all industries, and I think more important in hospitality because our retention is really tied to tenure, like everybody else, but that is equal to experiences with the guest. So our guests come in for an experience, and until they have that people connection, that's what really makes it stick. Sam has a saying that bad service makes good food taste bad. And that's because people will remember a connection with their server, bartender, host, whatever it is, more so than they'll remember a really great meal. So you can have a mediocre meal and an unbelievable experience with the person serving it, and you'll go back. But if you have a really great meal and a really bad experience with the person, you won't go back.
So if a restaurant isn't doing these things, then they have turnover, and then the guests might even ask for somebody that they had before that they really enjoyed having.
Yeah. And then they're not there.
And then they're not there.
Yeah. So not only is it a connection to the guests coming in, but it's also a breadth of knowledge because seafood changes so much. And in my environment specifically, we have first of season products, we have individual fishes that the fishermen will come in and say, I only have a couple tons of this, do you want it? And so the breadth of learning that they have to do on a consistent basis also is strengthened when they're there the longest, because they see the first of season products come in annually and they're just building on their own knowledge.
So even in the restaurant industry, certain types of restaurants will especially benefit from employee retention because of the sophisticated nature of the products that are sold. And
Yeah, absolutely.
so let's talk about some of the best practices. So what are some of the best practices you've seen at King's or even at other restaurants? What are some of the best practices you've seen for employee retention?
So it's interesting. Our industry is different than some of the traditional incentives or retention. So because we're different, we're open 7 days a week, we're open nights, holidays, weekends. So the traditional on-site dry cleaning and pet care and daycare and gym memberships, it's just not it's not in alignment. So we do a strong push on career path and cross-training. And so people know that once they come in and they are in alignment with who we are as a culture and a company and what our purpose is, we have an array of places they could go. They could stay in the restaurants, they could go to the distribution center, they could come to the home office, they could be in delivery. It doesn't matter. We have so many people that start as hourly crew members in the restaurants and end up in the home office. I have 3 on my team that have been general managers of mine, recruiters of mine, and some of ours are even our directors and vice presidents now. So as long as we are clear about the career path and how to get there, I think that allows people to have clear focus on where they want to go, which in turns will have loyalty and retention.
And so what are some of the specific creative things that a restaurant can do besides career development that can provide little perks or benefits to employees?
Yeah, we do, one of our biggest perks is our dining discount. So any one of our 23 restaurants, any person in our company can go and eat at a discount. So most of our people, it's from 25% all the way to 100, and it's up to 6 guests. And there's no limit. And so part of that is to allow you to bring in your friends and family and experience where you work, be proud of the product that you serve, have that connection, and actually get an experience like a guest would, so they in turn can turn around and know what that feels like. But we also are pretty competitive with most industries. We have full benefits, we have full 401k, we have wealth and packages for people, investment sessions that people get into, which is different for our industry because it's so young in demographic and also just transitional. People use it to go to school or their first job. And so we're really trying to establish things that will stick them to who we are.
And that's a great collection. And then that combined with, for those that are seeking a longer term or career in this field, there's strong programs that are in place so that people can see their career trajectory exactly where they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about culture. How important is a restaurant culture in employee retention?
Everything. We define culture as how we do things around here. And that is within your actions, your behaviors, the standards that we uphold, and really living within our guiding philosophies. And if you are in alignment with what we believe to be our successes, then you're going to thrive. The people create the environment. People leave people. They don't leave a company. And so as long as the environment is true to what we have set up, then people will stay. The loyalty comes from when people feel respected and cared for, especially in our industry. It's hard. It's physically hard. It's emotionally hard. Dealing with guests on one-on-one, especially today's day and age, is hard. And so if they feel as if they are valued, then they'll keep coming back.
So if culture plays such a large role in employee retention, and in your case, you have 23 restaurants, how do you make sure that all 23 restaurants have a good culture?
We do a lot of spot checking. We do employee engagement surveys. We also do a lot of training. We do quarterly training. We bring our leaders in and make sure that they are still in alignment with who we are. And we also have regional support teams that go out, and they're also in the restaurants, and then they can come back and tell us, what does the environment look like? What does it feel like? How is it as a guest perspective? How are we doing?
And it must be even more challenging as you continue to grow and scale to make sure that the culture stays intact.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Yeah. So what advice would you give a company in this industry that seeks stronger employee retention? We're losing people, people keep leaving. What should we do?
My recommendation would be to start with who you're hiring, because those that are leaving aren't in alignment with who we are. And so if you're not making great business decisions up front, then you're just going to derail the growth or the momentum of the restaurant. I think that if you are clear with your expectations of who we are and what we expect, and people have an alignment with that, it's not necessarily the technical skills, because we can teach that. It's the internal. It's people that see us in alignment with who they are, and then also are nice. I mean, you can't teach nice. So you can teach how to serve, and you can teach how to cook. So if we are choosing the right people up front, then our culture is going to remain in place, because everybody around has the same goals in mind.
So if a company is having problems keeping their people, if they have some retention issues at a restaurant or a hotel or in this industry, they really need to look at the people they're hiring first.
Yes, and their leaders. Because if people are leaving people, it might be the leader.
And then they need to look at their value proposition and ask themselves, are they providing what people need and want to stick around?
And what we say we're going to. I mean, we have our own guidelines, and if we are not fulfilling that, then shame on us.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you, Kelly, for joining us on the show today. We're going to have our leadership panel here in just a minute. Can you stick around for that?
I would love to.
It's now time for our leadership example. Today we bring you the top 10 most creative job benefits of 2026. Don't go anywhere. We have our leadership lesson coming right after this. Welcome back. It's now time for today's leadership lesson. Today we hear from Dr. Gerard Beenen.
Hi, I'm Gerard Beenen, and here is today's leadership lesson. Imagine two organizations. One has no plan for turnover. When people leave, knowledge, skills, and expertise go with them. The other is constantly adapting to match changes in the competitive environment. Knowledge, skills, and expertise are continually developed, and no one leaves without transferring expertise to the next generation of organizational members. Now, it's obvious which organization will thrive. Succession management determines the difference between these two. Succession management is a proactive, strategic process to identify and develop future leaders and retain key competencies. Over 4 million Americans are turning 65 each year. This silver tsunami means about 20% of the U.S. population will be 65 or over by 2027, with more retirees than children by 2034. As these people retire, their knowledge, skills, and expertise leaves with them. Yet, despite this demographic jolt, 56% of HR professionals indicate they have no succession management plan in place. Succession management is more critical than ever. Succession management reduces skill loss that may be either expected, such as the silver tsunami, or unexpected, such as AI disruption. In an age where AI-related skills will become increasingly valued, succession management helps build a sustainable internal pipeline. A stable, refreshed talent and leadership pool also helps maintain cultural continuity while strengthening resilience, adaptability to change, and long-term performance. Here are some critical success factors for effective succession management. It starts with strategic alignment, identifying mission-critical roles. This includes talent at all organizational levels, from top to bottom. Focus on measurable competencies that are objective and future capabilities. Use multiple data points to reduce bias when assessing talent. Develop talent through mentoring, cross-functional experiences, and stretch goal assignments to retain your most valuable human resources. Finally, succession management plans should be dynamic, updated at least annually or as often as strategic alignment requires. Let's look at some pitfalls of ineffective practices. Many organizations fail because they treat it as a static ad hoc exercise versus an ongoing strategically aligned process. Over-reliance on subjective manager nominations versus objective competency-based measures can reinforce bias and create homogeneous talent pools as managers unconsciously hire in their own image. Failing to build diverse pipelines also stifles innovation and amplifies inequity, alienating your customers. Failing to provide structured development plans undermines your strategy, kind of like trying to navigate to a complex destination with a broken GPS. In a business environment where AI apps are multiplying faster than we can keep up with, there are a myriad of tools available to help organizations. AI can strengthen succession management by adding data-driven insight. Retention models that leverage predictive analytics can identify roles most at risk of turnover. Competency mapping tools can help you identify, define, and fill gaps between current and expected future talent needs. Machine learning models also can analyze huge data sets that include skills, performance, and career trajectories to identify your hidden high potential talent. AI tools can flag bias patterns in promotions or evaluations, though they also can be at risk of replicating biases based on their training data. Finally, AI can recommend personalized development plans to close competency gaps when used responsibly. AI enhances fairness, accuracy, and strategic workforce planning. To wrap up, succession management is ongoing, strategic, and development focused. The goal is to have a proactive plan to sustain talent, not a reactive response to lost talent. The focus is building talent internally, not just labeling it for later use. Developing your key people is far more important than merely designating them as such. AI can dramatically improve insight and objectivity, but it must support, not replace, thoughtful leadership judgment. Effective organizations combine talent development practices with AI tools. Remember, relationships will always be more important than algorithms. Now, when that silver tsunami hits your organization, proactive and effective succession management will help you ride the wave instead of getting wiped out. I'm Gerard Beenen, and this has been your leadership lesson.
Thank you, Dr. Beenen, for that leadership lesson. It's now time for our leadership panel. Janet, Regina, and Kelly, thank you each for rejoining us.
Thank you.
Good to be back.
Good to be here.
So the way the panel works is this. We have 4 questions, and we'll each take turns answering first, but you'll all have a chance to answer every question. And Janet, you'll answer the first question, and here it is. So each of you are going to share one do and one don't for building a talent retention strategy.
First of all, do look at the data and ask yourself, what is the data telling me? So look at your pulse surveys, your engagement surveys, look at your turnover statistics, any data you have about people. Take a look at it, analyze it, and tell a story with it, and understand what's going on in your environment. And then the don't undervalue or underestimate the power of your managers. They are a key leverage point in your organization. Prepare them for leading, help them learn how to do stay interviews and stay connected with their employees. That's a key part of your retention strategy, are your managers.
Those are great pearls of wisdom. Thank you, Janet. Regina, it's the same question for you. Give us one do and one don't for building an employee retention strategy.
So I echo what Janet says, but I would add, do listen. Listen intently, make space to listen, because in addition to the data points that you're trying to obtain and understand about what's happening within the organization, what's happening with people, you need to make space for listening to individuals, listening in fireside chats, finding spaces where you can get additional insight to what's going on within the organization. Don't just throw money at it. Not every retention strategy has a financial cost. Sometimes you can actually drive retention strategies that are minimal to no cost. This could be around how much time are you spending with people around very specific ways of developing and coaching. It could be ways and also in how you thank people personally. If you do things with more intention, sometimes these things cost very little to none. So don't just assume every retention strategy has a cost element to it.
Those are great ideas. Kelly, same question for you now. What are one do and what is one don't for building an employee retention strategy?
My one do would be staying true to culture. And my one don't is don't hire just a warm body. Hire the right person for the right job, even if that takes longer in time, because it's going to dismantle the culture in the long run if you don't.
Okay, those are some great ideas. So our next question is going to be, Regina is going to answer it first. It is on the future of talent retention. What does the future hold in the HR world, and what must companies do now to prepare for it?
I would say, Jay, the future is now. There is a lot going on with companies, businesses, what's happening going on across the globe and in the world that creates lots of volatility and uncertainty. And what we have seen is that employees are much more astute and avid consumers as they think about where it is that they want to work and where it is that they want to be able to grow within an organization. And so if you think about what that means from a retention perspective, that means you actually have to make sure you have a pulse around what those needs are and what those trends look like. That could be anything from tool enablement and how they get their work done. It could be around rewards and incentives. We know right now benefits are a very big hot topic as we think about the stressors and financial things that are going on, table stake issues that are happening with our families around the globe, and costs. The ability to have good, strong benefits and take some of those things off of the plate of employees becomes very much rich and robust. And we know that they are paying attention more to a lot of these different types of programs that can be retention drivers. So I would say you got to do the work now, and you got to make sure that it's flexible and agile for the changes and the shifts that you would expect to see with the employee sentiment and what they value moving forward.
So one of the real future of family benefits is becoming more and more paramount.
very paramount.
All right, so Kelly, you'll go next. What do you see as the future of talent retention?
I think the future for talent retention is really the skill set and leadership in learning how to talk to people from different generations in the way that they want to be spoke to. So the channel of communication from how they want to hear it, the approach that they want to hear it, the tact that they have, all of that will be successful in keeping the retention, keeping the people happy where they're working because they feel as if they're being heard and listened to.
And finally, Janet, same question. What's the future hold?
AI. I just have to say it. And I think from a retention strategy, making sure your employees have the skills they need. So either they have the skills to do the work, or they're enabled with AI, or they're upskilled, or skills inventory is a popular thing where, you know, you're managing your employee base, knowing what their skills are, giving them the career development they need so they can have a career portfolio at your company, and that will keep them there longer. And they can stay, or they can go on and do other things and maybe even come back. So I think focusing on AI, upskilling, and skill building with your workforce is really an important area today and in the future.
So I think that leads us into our next question really perfectly. And Kelly, you're going to answer this next one first, and that is this. How will AI specifically impact employee retention?
So in my industry, it's very different because you can't use a machine to cook food or serve a table in our environment, in a full service environment. You might be able to in fast casual, but not for us. So AI, we use it currently, but we use it really as a benchmark for how do we train more efficiently? How do we build modules so leaders that are new into their role have something to benchmark themselves? So if they're having a hard conversation for the very first time with somebody and they need guidance, then they can use AI to help build that script or resource. And then we also use it for help with analysis. We have a lot of data. We have a lot of numbers. We have a lot of budgets, sales, PMIXs. And so we can put that into a system and say, this is what we're trying to do. Can you help me and benchmark this? And so we use it for efficiency and time. We don't use it for substituting the connection with the person, because connection is everything in my industry.
Terrific. So same question for Regina.
So AI is very much embedded in the business that I currently work for today. We have AI that's embedded in our products and solutions, and we've already been embedding AI in our ways of working internally. And our philosophy from an AI perspective is this is meant to be an enabler and what we call a human enhancer. And I think reasonably, the intersectionality of retention strategies, I think for companies to think through is your philosophy on AI is going to determine how you attract talent into the organization and how long you're able to retain talent within an organization. So our philosophy around human enablement, not human replacement, is one that we believe is going to enable our company to be more productive, be more efficient, deliver even better capabilities for our customers while elevating our human capital, right? So that they have growth opportunities, talent mobility, and the ability to continue to grow and thrive with the company. Companies have different cultures and may use AI in different ways. What I would say for those that think of it as an automatic replacement, that you need to think about how that's going to shape and influence your culture over time as an organization. And while that may provide some short-term gains and value, it may hinder your ability on long-term delivery, execution, and growth.
So Janet, you mentioned earlier that the future of employee retention is going to be AI. So how do you see AI specifically impacting employee retention?
Many ways, but one in particular was brought up about a generational workforce, and employees are consumers of work, and they expect consumer level support. So what AI can do is create mass customization or personalization at scale. So an employee wants to go down this path or that path, AI can personalize their development planning and their skill building and all those types of things that they need to grow and develop in place. And you can scale it based on the person versus having one size fits all. So AI can do that. But the other thing to keep in mind is, AI can take care of the data, AI can take care of efficiency. But going back to my earlier point about how important leaders are, leaders need to make sure that they're handling the people in the best way possible. They're there for them emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the things that matter during COVID still matter. A manager's job is harder than it's ever been, but that human connection will make all the difference in a highly digitized, high-tech world.
Thank you. So it's now time for the final word. This is where each of you will give one final piece of advice or pearl of wisdom for our viewers. And Janet, you get to go first. So what is your final word?
Retention is really evidence of how well you're leading your company. It's an indicator of your culture and the strength of your brand. And so make sure you make retention a high priority, not when it's too late, but every day, all day long.
Regina?
For me, I think we're really at a pivotal point, I think, between work and people. And so companies who are really thinking about how to have the best talent, to be able to grow and to be able to scale at the end of the day, they have to understand that talent is a consumer. They understand and they have needs and they have values in order to ensure that it's a good contract between what they are going to deliver to the company and the organization and what the company is essentially going to deliver back to them, right? So it's really becomes more of a partnership now than ever before. And so strong retention strategies that are intentional and aligned with the culture, those are the things that you're going to see really good performance out of a company and a business because they've got the rhythm, they've got the alignment, it shows up, it works, and people can feel it, right? They can feel that symbiotic relationship working. And what I would just say is, if you feel that your company is out of alignment with that culture, don't wait for somebody else. Be part of the change, be part of the solution to be able to make that catalyst to get the alignment that you want.
Right. So Kelly, it's now time for your final word.
I think it would be don't compromise your culture or your standards, because as soon as you do on a bigger scale, people will translate that into their own personal experience. So if they see that you as a company have set this up and all of a sudden you're not holding it to be true, they're going to believe that that's how you're going to treat them as well.
Yeah, one theme that I picked up from all of you is that the people we want to retain the most are also the ones that we need to retain the most. Mm-hmm. They're also the ones that are going to have the most options. Mm-hmm. And there you have our final word. Thank you, Janet, Regina, and Kelly for joining us today on our show, as well as on our leadership panel. We really appreciate you coming and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have a question or need advice, connect with us by email, leadership@fullerton.edu, or on Instagram @CSUF_CFL, or visit our YouTube page. And please like and subscribe to get the latest releases and special features. Thank you for tuning in to today's show where we talked about employee retention. Thanks to our featured guests, Janet Clardy, Regina Johnson, and Kelly Ellerman, for sharing your expertise on this important topic. A special thanks to Dr. Gerard Beenen for delivering today's leadership lesson. Join us each episode of The Leadership Voice, where we provide the insights leaders need to thrive in today's world. I'm Jay Barbuto here at the Giles O'Malley Center for Leadership at Cal State Fullerton, and we'll see you next time right here on The Leadership Voice.